How can the fundamentals of understanding oneself be explained to kids so they apply this learning early?
I mean, with children, you have to be careful because children, first of all, for the first several years, 5 or 6 years, you just need to leave them in the garden that they're in. They're in a very beautiful world. I mean, you can say things. You should, when they start understanding things, you can begin to talk. I mean, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And children are naturally spiritual, so it's not difficult for them to understand the immaterial world. But you also have to be easy with them. The Prophet ﷺ said, I mean, this riwayah has, the meaning is very sound. You know, he said, لَعِبُهُمْ لِسَبْعٍ. You know, Sayyidina Ali, also it's related. لَعِبُهُمْ لِسَبْعٍ. You know, play with them for 7 years. It's a time of play. And believe it or not, play, and this is one of Piaget's great insights, the pediatric psychologist who studied children. Piaget said that their play is their work. Like they're actually working. What they're doing when they play, there's really important developmental elements to their play. So play is very important. And then لَعِبُهُمْ لِسَبْعٍ وَأَدِّبُوهُمْ لِسَبْعٍ. And then begin to discipline them and train them, which means educate them, you know, أَدِّبُوهُم. Because ta'adib is also, mu'addib is the traditional name for the teacher, was called mu'addib. Because it's tarbiyah and ta'lim, it's character development as well as education. And then خَالِلُهُمْ لِسَبْعٍ. And then befriend them, be like a friend to them. Once they reach 14, they're moving into adulthood, and then you just have to be there for them. But they need to become independent. And that, in Erickson's crises, it's identity versus identity confusion. They need to come into their own identity as adolescents and find out who they are. And then he said, after that, then you have to let them go. They're not yours. They have their own trajectories. They have their own lives. I mean, hopefully, if you've raised them right, they'll love you and they'll care about you and they'll want to take care of you and help you and in your need. But they also have their own lives, and it's very important to recognize that. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do with children. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Man kana lahu sabi falyatasaba." You know, if you have a child, then play with the child like a child. The Prophet used to carry Hassan and Hussein on his back, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he loved children, obviously. And children loved the Prophet ﷺ. They loved the Prophet ﷺ. There's so many. He visited Nughair, Umair, who was the brother of Anas when his pet died. And from that they derive several fiqh rulings, including you can visit people when their pets die as a ta'ziyah. But he visited him, and مَا فَعَلَ النُّغَيْرِ. What did the pet do? Like he was making him think. Like what happened? Because one of the things about pets is it introduces children into mortality. Because pets don't live as long as we do. And so pets tend to die. And then they also see animals. I mean, one of the tragedies of Western culture is they've divorced meat from slaughter. And so people no longer slaughter meat or have any relationship with the slaughtering of meat. But it's very important. And there was a man who did a documentary in Canada. It's very interesting. I didn't see the documentary, but I read about it. But it was very interesting what he said, because he decided to only eat meat for 1 year that he raised and slaughtered. And one of the things that the farmers that he bought the meat from was don't name the animal. But he would name the animal. And he said what it did, when they ate it, they would remember the name of the animal, and they felt gratitude to the animal. Like they felt a gratitude that the animal sacrificed its life for their life.
What steps can we take to be human again?
Well, this is why I'm teaching the book. Just be patient. Yeah, he's going to explain it all.
How can we revive an ummah oriented towards our created purpose?
I mean, I think we have to revive ourselves, first of all. Yeah, we should be more concerned about reviving ourselves than the ummah. Allah will revive the ummah when we revive ourselves. Yeah, we focus too much on these big grand schemes. Yeah, we need, the problem is the individual. And we're all going to die. We're only here a short period. And the same problems are going to be here. I mean, human beings have been doing the same stuff for millennia. I mean, Iblis must be bored. Because we're just so predictable. I mean, that's how AI works, right? On the predictability of human beings. So, what's unpredictable is salah. That's what's amazing. And that's why it's so powerful, is because, people shouldn't be surprised when people bring money that they found on the street. Now they're like heroes. That should be a normal human being. When somebody finds something and they turn it in. I mean, I was in Medina once, and because I lived in Medina, and I was living with the Mauritanians, and we used to walk every day from the Har al-Gharbiyah, when Medina was all dirt roads. And I'll never forget, I said to this Sudanese man, Mirghani, the beautiful Sudanese brother, I said to him, yeah, I can't believe that the government doesn't pave the roads here. He said, astaghfirullah, don't say that, we don't want them paved. This is the earth that the Prophet walked on. He said, it's musk. We don't want them paved. Now they're paved, and I regret, he was right. But I found this big wad of money. It's just lying there, like all these 500 riyals. And another man saw it at the same time I saw it. And I picked it up, and he's like, it's mine. I said, how much is there? He said, he didn't know. So I said, I took it to the police station. But it was very interesting to find a big wad of money in Medina. Who would have thought? Murabit al-Hajj found he told me he found a bag of gold coins when he was in Mecca. And he just stayed there with the coin, and the man came back. And when he saw it, he said, those are my gold coins. He said, I've been waiting for you. And he said he took it and he went into sajda to shukr. And Murabit al-Hajj laughed. He rarely laughed, but he laughed when he told me that he made sajda to shukr. He thought that was very funny. Malikis don't make sajda to shukr. But he just thought it was funny for gold. Like for him, it wasn't a big deal. Alhamdulillah.